Gamakei mechanical switches. So far, I've taken a look at all of their homegrown ones, and there's a lot of them. They started with their Crystal and Bumblebee models, so the Bumblebee is this box right here, and their Crystal series is the one that I have on this keyboard right here. But the one that I personally really liked was the one that focused on silence, the Phoenix switch. If you've seen my videos on them, they are my absolute favorite linear series. Dead quiet with a solid shortened travel distance. I actually used them at home on my gaming setup. Then, about a year later, they came out with these two, the Pegasus and the Griffin switches. These are tactile models designed to be as silent as possible. Out of the two, personally, the Pegasus was definitely the winner, in my opinion. These are the ones that I use at the office, but that's because I'm a big fan of quiet switches, and these are slightly quieter than the Griffin switches, though both are really good. So why am I bringing this up? Well, the company's expanding the lineup once again, and they sent me their Planet series, which are right here, and a keyboard to test them in. The new switches are the Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, and I pulled switches and keycaps over 1,000 times to make this video happen, so hopefully this is going to be helpful for some of you, because we got sound tests and all. But first, let's take a look at the keyboard that they sent over for me to actually test the switches in. This is their SN75 Barebones kit. Basically, you get everything you need for the keyboard except for the switches and the keycaps. Now, I'm not gonna lie, if you want to dip your toes into custom keyboards, or you already have your footsies in there, this thing is banging for the sub $100 market. I think right now it's like 70 bucks. It's insanely tweaker friendly. Wait, I mean, it's very customizable. So let's go from the bottom to the top real quick so we can, take a look at what's going on with this Barebones kit. You got rubber feet, nice. I would have preferred to see adjustable feet here, but this is fine. The bottom case is made of acrylic, and all of the screw points are actually metal inserts, if you take a look right here. That way, you don't get strip out on the plastic. Inside, you get a padded rubber insert at the bottom, great for sound dampening, and it helps keep the battery in place. Then the PCB is pretty typical. You get some white foam between the PCB and the mounting plate, and here is where we get peak customizability. You get two different mounting plates, one in plastic, which is great for RGB and great for people who like a little bit of flex in their keyboard, and an aluminum one, which I have in this keyboard right here, and you could swap them around by just removing these screws here. Once off, all you have to do to swap it is put the rubber pads in the right places and you're good. It's all swapped. From here, you have even more control over how the keyboard feels. You see all that flex that I have right now? That's how I personally like it. Thanks to the aluminum, it's not too soft, but it's still got some give. If you don't like that, well, you can open up the keyboard, screw the included screws into the top plate, and boom, you've got a way stiffer keyboard. Personally, I'll stick with the bounce because I like it. You can also remove the rubber to make it even stiffer.
That's what she said.
Anyways, there's going to be some links down below. Not sure if Gamakei is going to give you a coupon code, but if anything, a link to this keyboard will be down below. Now for the switches. While they all have different specs and colors, there are some things that they all share. They all still use the bracket design on the stem. That's great for stability and for key wobble. All the new switches are 5-pin, so if you have a keyboard where 1 or 2 keys are 3-pin only, like some Keychron keyboards, you're gonna have to cut the little plastic legs. And just like all the other Gamakei switches, they're actually pre-lubed. And they're in a new switch body. A body that has what they call the light guide pillars. It's a fairly small addition to switches, but it's still a welcome one. It's pretty cool. Essentially, with most switches, what you get for RGB is a small void to let the light through. So if you have keycaps like mine, fully transparent, you kind of get that harsh RGB cob right into your eye. With the light pillar, you get a more diffuse and guided RGB light. So that's what these 4 new Planet series switches have in common. From here, we talk about the differences. And as usual, you guys always request it, we start with a full sound test. Roll it. So what did you guys think? Personally, I like the Mercury the best. It's sort of the quietest of the bunch without being silent. It's just super crisp with no big clack sound. Also, it just happens that it's my favorite Switch period in the lineup. Like, I've been praising the Phoenix for a long time as great silent Switches, but they're still just that, silent. And the way they achieve that silence is with itty bitty tiny little rubber feet at the bottom of the stems. You can see them right here. That's great for sound dampening. It's just not that great if your goal is to get that crisp hit at the bottom of the keystroke. This is why I like the Mercury so much. Also, for a linear Switch, they're light as a feather. The end force is heavier than the Phoenix, but the actuation point is basically invisible. As for the tactile Switches, well, they actually feel completely different from the tactiles that we tested last time. First of all, they're not silent, so you get the crispy hit at the bottom of the keystroke, but another thing that I noticed is how snappy the tactile event is. Instead of 0.7 millimeters for the tactile event, that's the feeling of the bump when the Switch activates, the new Mars and Venus Switches almost half that at 0.4 millimeters, and you can really tell the difference when you're touching them. The Venus also has that tactile event a little bit later than the Mars, which makes it a little more satisfying to bottom out. It's definitely louder because of that though. If you like heavy Switches, the Mars, these ones right here, are for you. At 70 grams of force, they're the heaviest Switches that I've tested so far. The one thing that I really like about these new Switches is definitely their looks. I mean, when Gamake first got into Switches, this is what they looked like. My favorite Switch of the bunch is of course the Phoenix, but they're, not the sleekest looking ones. For a build like mine, on transparent keycaps, the Planet series look really cool, especially with the diffuse RGB. So yeah, if you want silence, you know what to get. You get the Phoenix ones if you want a linear Switch, the Pegasus one if you want a super silent tactile Switch, and the Griffin one if you don't mind a little bit of noise. And now, if you want just purely good Switches for gaming or everyday use, they made it happen with these four. And with a pack of 90 for, I think it's under 25 bucks, this is definitely one of the most affordable options on the market. Once again, I don't know if Gamake is going to give me a discount code for you guys. You can check out the description down below in case I do have one. In any case, that is pretty much it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed and the sound test helped you pick which Switch you want to get. Don't forget to leave a like if you liked it, a comment if you want to talk about the video itself. As usual, it's right here to see the latest video, right here to subscribe to the channel. Stay frosty, my dudes, and I'll see you on the next one. Wait, I gotta lower this.